Am I supposed to say
No,
something?
I'm waiting. Sorry, I should have given you the countdown. Good afternoon, Kairos Connect. Today we are honored to have Dr. DrDDuBois with us. She is looking for an associate in her practice, and this is a prized position. I do have to say, I've known a few of your associates, and I've known you for quite a while now, so I know that this is a cream of the crop position. So tell me about your practice and what you're looking for.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. I do like to think it is a prized position as well. My practice is a group practice. I originally was an associate myself for 10 years in a large group practice. So I model my practice just like that. Mm-hmm. And we pretty much are family chiropractic. Well, maybe not so much family because that comes with kids, but the other doctors
Are you sure you see kids? I'm not sure.
Well, the other doctors seem to really like the kids, so that's a great opportunity for them. But we're really a corrective care clinic, so we work on restoring curves. We're not exactly a CBP, but we subscribe to a lot of their philosophies. We are diversified Palmer package. We use, drops, activator, Pulstar, which is like the pro adjuster. We're rehab. We emphasize a lot of rehab, vibration therapy. We have low cold laser, massage therapy. We also have ideal protein weight loss in our clinic. At any given time, there's 20 team members, sometimes upwards to 26. Currently, I have 3 other doctors working for me, and one is leaving in about a month. And so that's her position that's come open. So
fantastic. I know you have a lot of different techniques you employ, so I'm assuming you're pretty open to technique of another associate.
Sort of. We work, one of the things that makes the practice so unique is that we work collectively. Meaning we adjust each other's patients. Mm-hmm. We can even do exams on each other's patients. We step in and do whatever is necessary at any given point in time. However, the contract is paid individually. So you are paid based on your own practice within this practice. But we work collectively so that we can have nice things, which means vacations. We can have personal time off because our people don't get sick, so we don't call it sick leave. If you need to go to your kid's recital or a graduation, you have coverage. You don't lose out any income. The patient stays on track. We all get weekends, at least every other weekend. So we have to work as a team, but you are paid regardless of who you adjust, predominantly or exclusively, I should say, on your own practice that you built.
I just love the model that you have because it does set up all of your employees or associates to win and to have coverage and to work as a team. Like, it's just a very big benefit to all and to the patients because they get 4 brains instead of 1.
Right.
If they need a second opinion, you have other doctors there. I love your setup. I think it's just brilliant. So
great. So the technique question, it would be really, we couldn't have somebody walk in that does exclusively cranial sacral or toughness or things that are really outside our wheelhouse. And not to say that that's not important because it certainly is. But if my patients are expecting, the full on body slam and you come in and start circling around your little instrument, it's going to be a disconnect for that patient. So
totally. Yeah. And because they see all the practitioners, so you all have to be somewhat on the same page. Now, are you looking for a new grad? Are you looking for somebody who has been out a while?
So that's a great question. Right now I've had all of them within my 10 years as an associate and then 10 years as a practice owner. And I've had everything from a very experienced to a brand new grad. And there is pluses and minuses to both sides of that coin. So I'm open to a new grad. but they better have studied their adjusting skills. If they're a straight A student, they're probably not for me. Sorry, it means they spend too much time in the books. They need to. I'm sorry, whatever. It's not probably. I need you to have been to every technique seminar. I need you to feel confident because you're walking in behind me of 20 years that I deliver a pretty powerful adjustment, and I need my patients to be able to experience at least something like that. Yeah. So now. I was like that when I graduated, and I'm sure there are others. So new grads are fine as long as they can deliver the heat and have a fairly thick skin and a really good sense of humor and want to make some serious dough.
Yeah. I remember being in chiropractic college, and whenever anybody would get an A and somebody else would get a C, they'd be like, well, C's for chiropractic. Like, you can adjust. It's not all about the grades.
Never had to use my renal physiology 20 years later. So
right, exactly. You're like, oh, I think that's a red flag. I think I might send that out. That's it. Yeah. Oh gosh, there was something else that just came up when you said that. Deliver the heat. Yeah, it escaped me. I'll think of it. We haven't mentioned where you're located, and I think you're also in a prime area in the country, a very nice area outside of Seattle.
Yeah.
And tell me how far outside of Seattle you are.
So it's a town called Bothell. There's no R in that. It's not brothel. It's Bothell, and it's 20 miles outside north of Seattle. And it is Bothell is the #1 growing city in the Puget Sound area. So we are on a massive expansion. There are hotels and apartments, and it's just been bonkers for the last few years of building. So all the prestigious real estate magazines and things like that are constantly commenting about the urban plan for Bothell, and it's just going to be great for business. We are on Main Street, Bothell. So downtown Seattle, downtown Bothell, in the 2-story brick building, the most beautiful building in Bothell. So it's a beautiful place. We have 5,000 square feet that is within our practice. We have 6 adjusting rooms, 3 exam rooms that combine as report of findings rooms. We have a rehab area with an emphasis on vibration, massage, and ideal protein. So, and every single inch of that is being utilized. Already. Yeah. I'm like, oh, how am I going to get more space?
Oh, yeah. And how many docs are on the floor at a time or a shift?
It can be anywhere from when I had 4 associates working for me, all 5 of us would be in on Mondays, and then it would taper down from there. Right now with the 4, we usually have 4 on Mondays and Wednesdays. Those are my big days. Mm-hmm. And then 2s and 3s, depending on where we're at. And then on Saturdays, they just rotate. Everybody just works one Saturday a month for 2 hours. Yeah. So there's just one doc there on Saturdays that sees. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay. They just get in, adjust them, get out.
Yep. Makes sense. Saturdays. I remember when we used to work Saturdays, and it was like we were open for an hour, but everybody would come at the end of that hour. Like you're open 9 to 10, and people would show up at like 9:50, and you'd be there till 11. So
we're open 8 to 10, and we're fully booked at 9:30. So
yeah, it's fun. It's fun. That's when your feet are held to the fire. That's for sure.
I love it that way.
The other thing that I love about your practice, and some other practices have it, but you have one dedicated person for marketing. And it's not all on the doctor or all on the staff to do the marketing, but you have one dedicated person. I think that makes your practice really unique.
Right. And she's probably half dedicated now because she's works for my restaurant half-time and then works upstairs half-time. And so, but she directs the doctor. She helps make the contacts. She helps close the deals, close the talks. She even will go to the event if you need that. She's been involved with CSK for several years and has been my key holder. So she knows all the tricks to the trade, and she feels like this is her practice too. So the success of the younger doctors are really important to her. So she gives a lot of guidance in that. we also have a dedicated rehab specialist. So most of our care plans include rehab, and in this state, we get paid pretty well for that. And she's got a bachelor's in exercise physiology. And so she runs the rehab area. And so she's busy teaching our patients all the corrective exercises and postural things that they're supposed to be doing. And the doctor, I'm the one that pays for her, but the doctors get that collections on their stats.
So the benefit of her being there. I just took an H.J. Ross seminar on insurance billing, and he said, it used to be manual therapies like massage and all that used to be paid really well, and now everything has shifted towards rehab and functional improvement in exercises. So that's awesome that you have somebody just dedicated to doing just that.
Yeah, we have somebody dedicated we have a billing service that handles all insurance billing, but our in-house person, she handles all the financial care plans. So she knows exactly which plans will cover group therapy versus Therex and all that stuff. So when you're ready to do your report of findings, it's all completely done up for you with all the proper numbers. And so it's pretty great. I just did my accounts receivable last week, and I had a bunch of the other doctors that had left their accounts receivables, and the stack was literally like that. There is none here. Everything's prepaid and pre-scheduled. So
it's great. I mean, you've put together a great team, and I think anybody who applies or is fortunate enough to work with you will learn a ton, not only about chiropractic, which is, the main thing, but also how to run a business.
Yeah. That's why my last 4 doctors left to run their own businesses. So it's a double-edged sword. You teach them what they need to know to run their own business, and then they run their own business. But it's always the right time. One associate was with me for 6 years. One was 5, one was 4, and one was 3. So they all outlived the 2-year contract, generally speaking. It's an easy gig in the terms of, when I got into practice, my mentor told me all you had to do to succeed in chiropractic was work half days. And I thought that sounds awesome.
That's
great. Yeah. But then, he said, just choose the 12 hours you want to work. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I
get it now.
Yeah. So it is really, 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 really a lot of work. And I'm never going to lie about that. The problem is it took me 19 years to become an overnight success. So now people just see, like the vacations and the time off and the whatever, but they didn't see the screenings at all the fairs and all the events I had to do and the working half days for 10 years.
Yeah. And sacrificing your own personal life, like not doing certain things with your friends or family because you had an event or you had a seminar or you had something else to attend. I always find it funny when people are like, I want to walk a day in your shoes. Well, it's just not a day. Like it didn't happen overnight. So I'm so glad that you said that. And then the other thing we were just talking about before we got on was the average salary for a chiropractor. I heard,
go ahead.
Yeah, I heard, and I've seen in a few different places that the average salary is anywhere from 60 to 75,000. That includes all bonuses, that includes benefits, that includes everything. And I know your associates, so I know that they are not in the average range. They are like way over the high double end range of that.
That's correct. So right before we got on, I pulled that stat from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 2016, 2017. Chiropractors earn a median annual salary of $66,000. And the lowest 10% of chiropractors earn less than $31,000.
That's like,
So anyway, none of my associates even make that the first year. So just to give you a rundown, so my last 2, I have a couple different contracts. One I like to term the rock star contract. That's the contract for somebody who's been in practice a little while, feeling like they are getting it down. understand how to get new patients, maybe have a little bit of savings because I don't pay you enough to live on at the base, because that's the point.
Right.
And so the Rockstar contract would not be very good for a new grad. But my last two associates who left, one of them made $300,000 his last year. And then the other one he was with me 6 years, and the other one made $200,000, and she was with me 5 years. Now, the last associate who was on the higher base contract with me for 3 years, she made over $100,000 her last year she worked for me, and that was on the non-Rockstar contract. And then
let's be real, like lots of chiropractors do not make that kind of money.
No, I know.
Even having your own practice, they have high stress, probably make less than that, some of them. So, and have all the other stuff to deal with.
Yeah, I know. I know. When I looked into this, I was like, I almost thought maybe I shouldn't offer my Rockstar contract anymore, but I still make money if they do good, so why not?
And the other part of that is it's the longevity of seeing the same practitioner in a practice, not just constant turnover of every year there's a new doctor, every year there's a new doctor, right? Like it creates a lot of trust when you have an associate there for 5 years or 6 years that they want to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I also just want to say that one of my newest, so I had my old batch, and they've all kind of moved on for different reasons, and then I had my new batch. So it's kind of it was an interesting transition for me. Not anyone that I'd recommend anybody go through, but I did.
Well, you are unique, Dusty. You are unique.
Talking about treating patients 5 days a week, that sucked.
Yeah.
But my newest associate said, and I just asked him if I could quote him. And he said, of course. He said, I've made more money at your office in the first 6 months than I made in 2 full years at my last office. And he said he would be happy to chat with anyone considering making the switch. So, yeah.
That's awesome. What a great testimonial. Like, right from your associate, your employee. Right. So, and I know you guys have a lot of fun together too. So that's another added, well, I don't even want to say unpaid, but it's another bonus that you get to all hang out and have fun and enjoy each other's company. So you got to be cool to work in Dusty's office.
Yeah. And you have to have a really good sense of humor.
Yeah. And a thick skin. I think a thick skin is essential in chiropractic anyway.
Right? Like all day long. Why didn't you become a real doctor? Or I didn't even know chiropractors were doctors.
Well, especially when you get out and you're in the community and doing so many screenings and events and all of that. That's when it's like, oh, you just got to let it roll off your back.
Yep, exactly.
Takes a while, but you learn.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. Is there any last parting words? Or, let me ask you this. Any words of advice for new grads looking or any other associates looking for a position? What are your words of wisdom?
So that's awesome. One of the doctors that I had recently hired, I didn't have a spot for her, and then I made a spot for her because as I was looking through the ads online of the doctors that were posting associates, I was like, oh, don't go there. Oh, I'm not sure about that one. I was really super concerned with how chiropractors seem to eat their young. And part of my responsibility is what you said. It's a win-win situation. I need to win. But they also need to be able to have a living income. So the things that I want to look out for and I want people to be aware of, and I wrote this out, is watch your non-compete. One of the associates I hired had a non-compete of 50 miles.
Is that even enforceable?
I don't know. And then he had a non-compete, and then he had to give 90 days notice.
Wow.
And so he ended up working it out because his employer was, under reasonable outside that. And I thought, my non-compete's 10 miles. I'm not afraid of any. I'm not afraid. Yeah. I just don't want anyone to move next door and, taking my patients after I paid for them. But it's reasonable. It's 10 miles. It's 2 years. And you need to look at how much time notice you have to give. I would ask them to show you real stats. So I keep stats of stats. So I have stats about anything and everything from the day I started in November 1998 to yesterday. Can I ask you a question
on that?
Mm-hmm.
I recall another post on another group that was talking about an associate applying for a position and was asking for all of these stats that I'm not sure are super relevant to them getting hired. So, what are like your top 3 stats that an associate should ask for that would be relevant to their position?
Well, I think I know the post you're talking about, and I recall it something different. Like they wanted to look at the QuickBooks, like the profit and loss, like actual financials of that business, which I think are not necessarily an associate should ask for. So I am happy I cross off my associate's name on the stats, and I print out their stats, and I go, this is what this associate did month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, year 2, year 3, year 4, and then I print out their QuickBooks income, cross out their name, and I say, here's how much they made year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. So I just present it. And the associate doctor can decide if that, I mean, that's pretty legit. I don't want somebody.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm not going to.
But what if somebody hasn't had an associate and this is their first associate? How would they do that?
I would show them your own personal stats, how many new patients you get a month, how many new patients, how many patient visits, how much services, how much collections, what's your case visit average, what's your collections per visit, what's your closing rate. Those are the things that I would show as a practice. Yeah, I think you should be honest.
Absolutely. You don't want somebody to get in there and be totally like, oh, this is not what I expected.
Right. Yeah. And it's nice because I have some associates now that really remind me of some of my other ones. And I'll say, if you look at hers, you guys are very similar, and that would be a good measure and goal setting. Look at her stats and then 10x it, because why should you can always 10x that stat, but that's not the name of that's not the owner of the business doing it. That's not the person that's been in practice for 20 years. That's the new grad, just like you. And so I have a lot of data in order to show them. And I am, it's a really unfortunate thing that one of my docs is in and has decided this isn't the right spot for her, but usually that doesn't happen. And I want to be able to make sure that it's a good relationship for both of us. Because this, is exhausting to try to find another person and the right person, and patients get used to them, and it's hard, but it's life. That's why I get the big bucks, I suppose, because I can handle it.
Totally. Somebody just posted, working for DrDDuBois as an associate would be very advantageous. Huge opportunity.
Oh, thanks.
You got fans, Dusty. You got fans.
I'll pay you the 20 later. It's probably Dan. So there's a couple other things like there would have, I'm hiring immediately. So whenever I find the person, they can jump in and get started now. I do require a few things, like you have to be trained with closing for chiropractic.
Close for chiro.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I forget it's hard for me to remember everything. That's why I hire younger people. So close for chiro. You can't see new patients here unless you have the proper training. You have to, one of the things that I really like that you asked was, I don't know where it is, but basically, you have to be ready to make some dough. And when I say that, what I mean is your income is directly proportionate to the number of people you're helping. So if you're poor and making not very much money, you are not helping enough people. So the money is a quantitative measure of how many people you're reaching out to, how good you are, closing the deal, making sure that you're promoting chiropractic as the #1 healthcare option in the world. And so the more money you make, it just is simply a manifestation of the more people you're helping. So go make some dough and help a lot of people and have a lot of time off. And you can do all that if you come work for me.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. That was great. I think we covered it all, Dusty.
I think we did pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see who applies and who ends up with you, because I think it is a huge opportunity for someone that wants, like I said before, that wants to learn more about chiropractic, business, and just really have a great quality of life. Because as doctors and business owners, sometimes we put our business always comes first, and we don't have that balance. And this is a position that would definitely give you more balance. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you.